Hello everybody, my name is Sydney, Sidders and Soulhan_2, and welcome back to the Kent Coast Walk. Today we are back by the Queenborough Creek in Queenborough. It's really hard to say Queenborough Creek together. Last time we did from the Sheppey crossing to Queenborough, and today we are going from Queenborough along the coast to Sheerness, and then continuing onwards to Minster on Sea. It's about a 6.5 mile walk, so not too bad. We have got our Sittingbourne and Faversham Isle of Sheppey map right there. My mum's here with me as usual, and so is Amma. It's really lovely what they've done with this area by Queenborough Creek. I really can't say Queenborough Creek very well, it's a bit of a tongue twister. Yeah, you've got the buildings there and the creek with some boats. It's very picturesque. We're heading this way towards the Swale, which joins the River Medway right next to Queenborough. Just over there at the end of Queenborough Creek, you can see where it joins the Swale through the marina entrance there. Right, so let's say goodbye to Queenborough Creek, a beautiful starting location for today's walk, and head onwards towards the Swale. Nice little thank you NHS rainbow there. The old boathouse of Queenborough. Wow. Now it looks like it's a house. It says 1919 up there. As always, I'm getting so excited at the start of these walks. It's just so fun. Like, I want to be doing this every weekend practically, if I could keep up with the editing, but I'll try my best. Sort of like the back streets here a little bit. What's this on the left here? Trafalgar Court. Looks like a pub maybe. The Admiral's Arm. You nearly missed the path there. This is where the footpath goes, down the side of this pub. Oh, it's called a micro pub as well. So by the micropub, if you follow this footpath, and it takes us down here, and out towards the Swale. Wow. At the back of like a mansion here, which is being renovated. It's clearly low tide, but great view. And just there is where the Swale reaches the River Medway, and you can see across to the Isle of Grain as well, with all the industry over there. Got a nice little series of history plaques along here, which tells you information about the area. And we're also passing a tiny little park here, just to our right. The happy to chat bench. Sit here if you don't mind someone stopping to say hello. This is the landing area at Queenborough. I think they have lots of people come and go. It's a bit windy, hopefully you can still hear me. I guess just pop in from the Thames estuary into the Medway estuary and then into the Swale to land at Queenborough. They have a beacon here in Queenborough as well. We'll be seeing a lot more of those as we get along the more seaside part of the coast. And just as we get to the end of the car park here, we are leaving the main part of Queenborough and entering the beyond. And by beyond, I mean the industry of the Isle of Sheppey and towards Sheerness. There's also a little beach there, which is cool. Not quite a proper beach, but a tiny beach. this particular stretch here is giving me the Isle of Grain vibes. They had this sort of same similar walkway along the water as the Isle of Grain had. You can see the start of the industry here as we make our way along. Some wonderful windmills. I'm impressed with that. Right, we're about to turn inland to avoid the industry, but there are so many crazy things we can see right now. It is amazing, because obviously we've got the Swale behind me, and you can also see where the Swale meets the Medway, and the Medway, and you can see across to the Isle of Grain, and you can also see the Thames Estuary in the distance. And most exciting of all is Grain Tower. We can see Grain Tower out there in the water. And there's like these wind farms here too, which are like making a ton of noise, which is amazing. I'm just so excited. There's so much to see here. And sadly, this might be our very last look at the River Medway until we do the Grain Tower special. But for the walk proper, it's time to say goodbye to the River Medway. And I'm gonna have a tear. Nah, it's been amazing though. Roughly 9 walks around the Medway. That's a long time. I bid you farewell, coast, as we head along the path alongside the industry of the Isle of Sheppey. Right, so this next stretch, which lasts quite a few miles I believe, well maybe a mile and a half or 2 miles, something like that, is all alongside these cars that are being, I believe they're being made here on the Isle of Sheppey maybe, or delivered, something like that. Oh. There's a runner there just going past. That scared me. Blimey, this whole industry section really goes on for a long time. So many cars. I'm guessing they all get delivered here and then sent off to various parts of the country to be sold. Wow, is that a Volkswagen? Lots of Volkswagens there. This is one of the sections that I'm perhaps most gutted about, not being able to follow the coast, because I would love to be seeing the very end of the Medway, where it meets the Swale and the Thames Estuary, looking across to the Isle of Grain. But I suppose it is how it is. I don't think the England coast path is going to be helping much. I think that's just going to follow where we're walking right now, really. But it's still fascinating seeing all this industry and how many cars they have here. Seems the clouds are coming in now. Just to our right here, there's a footpath that you can use, which I'm guessing goes to those houses over there, which are sort of the start of Sheerness here. About as exciting as this bit of industry walk gets, we've got a ramp and a bridge. Wow, it's like climbing a mountain. See across the industry and the port of Sheerness. And then to my left there's the main road, which I guess just regular people can walk along and drive along. You can see the boat just over there with the K on it. That's the water that we're supposed to be following as closely as possible. Now we've come across some steps. How exciting. Ooh. Up we go. Ah yeah, I predicted that this would be what brings us out next to the road. So it seems the path follows the road from here on. Since we popped over that set of stairs back there, the pollution has become quite bad. It's really, really smelly by this road, and can't wait until we're past it. Welcome to Sheerness on Sea! Hooray! And almost as soon as we enter Sheerness on Sea, we are entering an area called Blue Town. and I believe Blue Town is quite a historical part of Sheerness, and I'm quite curious to see what it has to offer. As soon as we get here, we see these tracks, which I'm guessing used to be a train line or to deliver to the port, something like that. The path sign and the welcome sign for Blue Town. Welcome to Blue Town. There's a map of the area. We'll walk up there and along the top. Royal Fountain Hotel. It's got these little cobbled streets. It's a very interesting area. To me, it gives me the impression that perhaps it used to be very prosperous, but it might have lost its touch a little bit. I think that this wall blocks out the view of the industry for the people of Blue Town here, and attempts to help keep its character. I could definitely see this area being quite nice if it was done up a bit better and had a more touristy feel to it. There's this little raised up section here, and I bet at one point that went through somewhere. Let's read this little information plaque and see. See, the rest of Blue Town follows around there. Location point 3. They have a couple of these blue signs. The South Gate, constructed in 1861 and originally known as the Factory Gate. This was for the convenience of those in the steam factory, opened in 1854. Spot the gas jet for dockyard workers to light their pipes. Oh, somewhere? Oh, maybe it's these little wooden things in the wall. Or is it those? I'm not too sure. This part of Blue Town is the High Street. Got some very lovely buildings here. Next to this little alleyway here, they have a cinema here in Blue Town. Cinema every Friday, shows every month, museum open to all, musical cinema, the Criterion Blue Town, Heritage Centre, tea rooms, cream teas, licensed bar, TripAdvisor winner apparently. Isn't this fascinating? It's a shame it's not open, but wow. Any information boards for what they have on show? It's an unexpected surprise, that was. The Red Lion, Blue Town. This seems to be the main pub, maybe. I don't know if there's any further on, but it even seems to be open. There's people inside. I can really feel the history in this area. It definitely has a lot of character and a lot of stuff behind it. I could definitely see this being a tourist attraction, but unfortunately it seems to be a bit neglected, Blue Town. Got these lovely buildings though, and I could see this being a shopping street easily. I get the purpose of the wall is to block out the industry, but still there's a lot of information plaques and it's fascinating to read about. Here's a second bar, the Albion. Yeah, as we leave Blue Town, my conclusion is, I think if it was done up a little bit, had a bit more money put into it and less derelict buildings, it could be a really nice area and perhaps attract a lot of tourists. Location point number 7 gives me a bit more information about the history. The Dockyard Ruse. At midday, hundreds of dockyard workers would emerge, mostly from the South Gate, and flood up Blue Town High Street on cycles and on foot, anyone in the way had to dodge the stampede and young cyclists could join in for fun. This sign is really interesting. It's in English, French, and is that German? And is that... I can't quite tell, but it's in multiple different languages. Location point 8, Naval Terrace, the Dockyard Church, and Military Hospital. And just around here we've got those places. If you come through this little gate here, off of Blue Town, you can see the terrace houses. See a nice little park. And just ahead, there's the church just over there. Here's the church. It's been very derelict. And this row of terrace houses here and the church, it just furthers my feeling that this place could be a big tourist place had the money being put into it. Like, you can imagine people visiting the church and visiting the street in Blue Town, learning about the history, having a meal at a restaurant maybe. We're going to go away from the port, which is just behind me, and head through the park here. There's a diagonal path there through the park, and that'll continue us along, and we'll soon be at the beach. Sheerness Dockyards Preservation Trust. Looks like they're trying to save the church. Here we've got a sign saying Port of Sheerness, London Medway. So we cross over to Sheerness proper. We've got a little bit of a river across a bridge. I'm not 100% sure if it is a river or if it's just a lake, but either way, it's a nice little bridge across the water. Tesco Superstore just ahead, so if you want to do your supermarket shopping while you're on your walk, there it is. There's this little loop-de-loop path here that we're going to go around. There's a little bird, flew away. Another bird that also flew away. A duck by the pond, lake. Little loop-de-loop around towards the Tesco Superstore. Just to the left of the entrance to the Tesco Superstore is this footpath. And this footpath shall lead us to the sea. Nearly at the sea. Oh my gosh, look at that huge industry there. Oh my goodness. The view over to Essex is crazy here. You can see so much of it. We've made it to the sea, or Thames Estuary, but it actually feels like the sea with a beach and everything. Oh, after so long following a river, this feels amazing. We're going to be following this way back here just for a little bit, so that we get, so that we do that little bit of coast, but it ends up in a dead end at the port, and then we'll follow this way around until we get to Minster at sea. For the time being though, we're going to have a quick lunch break. The camera doesn't pick it up perfectly, but there's such an amazing view of Essex. It's so close, and I think that is Southend-on-Sea over there. So just had our little lunch break, and while we were eating lunch, my mum found out some fascinating information about what we see here going on in the background. It is the ports, obviously, but they've got these gigantic oil rigs. There's 2 of them that are parked there at the moment. We found out that the company who owns them has brought them in from out at sea because they need to find new workers or something, and they've been there since May, and they're going to be there for about 6 more months. It's quite windy along this little bit, so the oil rigs are looking really big. Wow. We've made it to the oil rig, and as far as we can walk along without trespassing, which we're not going to do today. And I thought I'd take this opportunity to mention something I forgot earlier, is that the port of Sheerness and Blue Town, I believe, have a native population of scorpions. So if you happen to see a scorpion, that's why. Fun fact, back to our little eating lunch bench, and we're heading east, onwards to Minster on Sea, and looking at the seashore of Sheerness on Sea. You can see they've got steps down here to support people going onto the beach. And I was just thinking, this is possibly the first beach that we've come across that people actively use for leisure. The only other beach I could think of is maybe the one in Grain, but we didn't see many people enjoying that in a leisure-like way. Please take your litter home, leave nothing but your footprints on the beach. Cafes and amusements, and a little park. I think that Sheerness has pleasantly surprised me. It's got a lovely seafront, a lovely promenade and lovely beach. Some interesting sights to see, like this church that we're just passing behind me. Yeah, it's really pleasant and feels like the sea. A seaside town. Okay, so we are leaving Sheerness on Sea behind us. What a lovely stretch of walk that was. And I can see Minster on Sea just in front of us on the slopes, as well as the cliffs that we'll be walking along the bottom of on our next walk from Minster on Sea to Warden. Onto the Pebbles we go, which seems to also be served as a car park, with the beach, and the footpath continues on this side of the Pebbles. Saw Minster on Sea on those slopes over there, with the cliffs that we'll be walking along the bottom of next time. Barton's Point Coastal Park. It looks like they have a little coastal park here, which is lovely. Beautiful landscape. I love this. There's such great views of the sea from up here, and you can see over to Minster on Sea, and you can also see right across the Isle of Sheppey behind me here, because this part of it's so flat looking across. It's only really once you get to Minster on Sea that it gets higher with the hills and the cliffs. With the slight exception of the industry that we had to skirt around, I'd say that this has been a pretty darn perfect walk. Looks like a very popular beach down here at Minster on Sea, and I don't blame them, it's beautiful. Minster! We've made it! Right, we've made it to Minster on Sea after walking from Queenborough to Sheerness, and now we're here. It's been one of my favourite walks, I think. So many different things to see. It's been exciting. We're by the sea, which is a lovely contrast from the river walking. And yeah, it's been really good. Next time we are walking from Minster on Sea to Warden on the east coast of the Isle of Sheppey, and that's gonna be a big challenge for us. We are quite scared about it, but we can do it. It's all at the bottom of the cliffs and on the beach, so 5 miles of that roughly. Goodness me. Stay tuned and find out how that goes. Thank you very much for watching, everybody, and don't forget to believe in the rainbows.